10 signs you're secretly becoming poor. Have you ever wondered if you're slowly sliding into financial trouble without even realizing it? It's a question worth asking because financial decline rarely happens overnight. It creeps in silently, disguised as normal everyday decisions. Here's something shocking. A recent Federal Reserve study found that 40% of Americans who consider themselves middle class are actually experiencing hidden financial deterioration year after year. Their bank accounts are shrinking while their debt is growing, yet they continue living as if everything is fine. What's even more surprising is that many people who appear wealthy, with beautiful homes, nice cars, and luxury vacations, are actually among the most financially vulnerable. The trappings of success have become incredibly easy to finance, creating a nation of people who look rich but are secretly becoming poor. In today's video, I'll reveal the 10 subtle warning signs that your financial foundation might be crumbling beneath your feet. Each of these signals is easy to miss in isolation, but together they create a powerful early warning system that could save you from serious financial hardship. Stay until the end for the most alarming sign of all, one that financial advisors immediately recognize as a 5-alarm fire, even when everything else in your financial life seems normal. Have you noticed any changes in your financial situation recently? Type concerned or secure in the comments to let me know where you stand right now. Let me share with you the first warning sign that your financial foundation might be crumbling beneath your feet. Something millions of Americans experience but few talk about openly. You're consistently running out of money before your next paycheck. Think about your typical month. Does that familiar feeling of anxiety creep in during the last week as your bank balance dwindles? That's not just an inconvenience. It's the first red flag that your financial health is deteriorating. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Living paycheck to paycheck isn't just stressful, it's financially dangerous. When every dollar is assigned before it even arrives, you're one unexpected expense away from debt. A recent Federal Reserve study found that 61% of Americans couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency without borrowing. What's more shocking is that this includes many households earning six figures who still find themselves broke by month's end. Consider Mark's story. As a marketing executive earning $120,000 annually, he appeared successful on paper. Yet every month, his bank account approached zero before his next paycheck arrived. His car payments, mortgage, private school tuition, and restaurant meals consumed every dollar. Despite his impressive income, Mark was secretly poor, building no wealth and constantly worried about money. The solution isn't necessarily earning more. It's managing what you have differently. The 50/30/20 rule provides a simple framework. 50% of your income for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and debt reduction. Start tracking your spending for 30 days using apps like Mint or Enab to identify where your money is actually going, not where you think it's going. Then systematically reduce expenses that don't align with your priorities, creating breathing room in your budget. Remember, consistently running out of money isn't normal, it's a warning. When you break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, you take your first step toward true financial security. This leads us to the second sign you're secretly becoming poor, one that makes every financial hiccup a potential disaster. You have no emergency fund. When I ask audiences about their emergency savings, many shift uncomfortably in their seats. They know they should have this financial buffer, but somehow it never materializes. If this describes your situation, you're walking a financial tightrope without a safety net. The harsh reality is that life inevitably throws financial curveballs, medical bills, car repairs, job losses. Without reserves to handle these expenses, you're forced to use credit cards or high-interest loans, creating a debt spiral that can take years to escape. A study by the Urban Institute found that households with even a modest emergency fund of $250 to $749 are significantly less likely to face eviction, miss utility payments, or rely on public benefits after a financial shock. Take Jennifer's experience. When her company announced layoffs, her colleagues panicked about making mortgage payments. Jennifer, however, had built a 6-month emergency fund by automatically transferring 5% of each paycheck into a separate account. This buffer allowed her to job hunt patiently and even decline an unsuitable offer, ultimately finding a better position than she'd had before. The practical solution starts small. Aim initially for $1,000 in a separate savings account, then build toward covering 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. The key is automation. Set up an automatic transfer of even $25 or $50 on payday before you can spend it. Choose a high-yield online savings account to maximize interest while keeping funds accessible. Services like Ally, Capital One 360, or Marcus offer significantly higher interest rates than traditional banks, allowing your emergency fund to grow faster. Remember, an emergency fund isn't just financial protection. It's peace of mind that allows you to make better decisions in all areas of life. This protection becomes even more important when considering our third warning sign, one that traps millions of Americans in a cycle of financial struggle. Your credit card debt is growing. That plastic card in your wallet offers convenience, but when balances grow month after month, it transforms from a useful tool into a wealth-destroying burden. If your credit card debt is higher now than it was 6 months ago, you're witnessing a critical warning sign of financial decline. Here's the troubling reality. The average American household with credit card debt carries a balance of over $7,000, with interest rates often exceeding 20%. At that rate, making minimum payments would take over 25 years to pay off, with total interest exceeding the original borrowed amount. This silent wealth killer prevents millions from building assets while transferring their hard-earned money to financial institutions. Consider David's situation. He used credit cards to maintain a lifestyle his income couldn't support. Nice restaurants, weekend trips, the latest electronics. What started as a $3,000 balance gradually grew to $22,000 across 4 cards. The minimum payments alone consumed over $500 monthly, money that could have been building his retirement or saving for a home. What looked like normal spending was actually mortgaging his future. The solution requires honesty and determination. First, stop the bleeding by freezing your cards. Literally. Some people put them in water and freeze them, creating a cooling off period before purchases. Next, list all your balances, interest rates, and minimum payments. 2 effective repayment strategies exist. The avalanche method, targeting the highest interest rates first, saves the most money, while the snowball method, paying off the smallest balances first, provides psychological wins that keep you motivated. Have you checked your total credit card debt recently? Do you know exactly how much you owe across all cards? Type debt-free journey in the comments if you're committed to breaking free from credit card debt this year. The 4th sign of financial trouble might seem obvious, but many people miss it until the damage is already significant. You're tapping into savings for everyday expenses. Remember that vacation fund you started? Or the home down payment you've been saving for? If you found yourself dipping into these dedicated savings to cover regular bills or unexpected expenses, you're experiencing a serious warning sign of financial deterioration. Here's the painful truth. Using long-term savings for short-term needs doesn't just delay your goals, it fundamentally derails them. When you withdraw $1,000 from retirement savings in your 40s, you're not just taking $1,000. You're potentially removing $4,000 to $5,000 from your future self when you factor in decades of compound growth. It's like taking a loan from your future that you'll never fully repay. Linda's experience illustrates this pattern. After establishing a dedicated account for her daughter's college education, she began making small withdrawals for car repairs, home maintenance, and eventually even utility bills. What started as just this once became a regular habit. By the time her daughter received acceptance letters, the account contained less than a third of what Linda had actually deposited over the years, not accounting for any growth the investment should have achieved. The solution requires addressing the root problem. Your regular income isn't covering your regular expenses. Start by conducting a thorough review of your monthly budget, distinguishing between essential needs and discretionary spending. Look for recurring subscriptions you rarely use, dining habits that could be modified, or insurance policies that could be consolidated. Often, finding an extra $200 to $300 monthly is enough to stop the savings drain. If budget adjustments alone aren't sufficient, consider developing a side income. The gig economy has created countless opportunities to earn extra money on flexible schedules. From freelancing in your professional field to driving for rideshare services or selling handmade items online, Even an additional $500 monthly can transform your financial situation, stopping the erosion of your long-term savings. This challenge with cash flow often connects directly to our fifth warning sign, one that financial professionals watch closely when evaluating someone's financial health. Your debt-to-income ratio exceeds 40%. This might sound technical, but it's actually quite simple. If more than 40% of your monthly income goes toward debt payments, including mortgage, car loans, student loans, credit card, and other debt, you're carrying a dangerous debt burden. This isn't just a number. It's a critical indicator of financial fragility that lenders use to determine creditworthiness. The sobering reality is that a high debt-to-income ratio creates a financial straitjacket, restricting your ability to build wealth, handle emergencies, or qualify for favorable loans. Banks typically become concerned when this ratio exceeds 36%, and many mortgage lenders won't approve loans for borrowers above 43%. Yet millions of Americans operate well above these thresholds, living in a state of high-income poverty, where substantial earnings provide little financial security due to overwhelming debt obligations. Take Robert and Sarah, who together earn $175,000 annually. From the outside, their suburban home and 2 late model cars projected success. Yet their monthly obligations included a $2,800 mortgage, $950 in car payments, $750 for student loans, and $1,200 in minimum credit card payments, totaling over 45% of their gross income. Despite their impressive earnings, they had virtually no capacity to save, invest, or even handle small unexpected expenses without more debt. The solution requires a two-pronged approach. First, calculate your actual ratio by dividing your total monthly debt payments by your gross monthly income. If it exceeds 40%, you need a deliberate debt reduction strategy. Consider the debt snowball or avalanche methods mentioned earlier, focusing intensely on one debt while making minimum payments on others. Second, resist adding new debt, even for good reasons, when your ratio is already high. Even low-interest debt for seemingly worthwhile purchases further compromises your financial stability. For those with seriously high ratios, more dramatic steps might be necessary. Downsizing housing, trading expensive vehicles for modest ones, or even temporarily taking on additional work specifically for debt reduction. Remember, a high debt-to-income ratio isn't just a number. It's a warning that you're secretly becoming poor despite what your lifestyle might suggest. This excessive debt often connects with our sixth warning sign, a pattern so common it has its own name in financial circles. You consistently upgrade your lifestyle whenever your income increases. Got a raise? Time for a newer car. Bonus at work? Let's renovate the kitchen. This pattern, known as lifestyle inflation, might seem natural, but it's actually a primary reason why people earning $250,000 can be just as financially fragile as those earning $50,000. The uncomfortable truth is that immediately consuming every increase in income creates a dangerous financial treadmill. You work harder and earn more, yet never gain ground. A study from the Journal of Consumer Research found that up to 70% of Americans increase their spending when their income rises, often exceeding the actual income increase due to optimistic financial projections. This explains why so many high-income households still live paycheck to paycheck. Consider James, who received a promotion that raised his salary from $65,000 to $85,000. Within 6 months, he had moved to a more expensive apartment, leased a luxury car, and upgraded his wardrobe. His monthly expenses increased by over $2,000, actually exceeding his $1,667 monthly raise after taxes. Not only did he fail to improve his financial position, but he actually became more financially vulnerable despite the substantial income increase. The smarter approach is a 50-50 rule for income increases. Allow yourself to enjoy half of any raise or bonus while directing the other half toward wealth building, debt reduction, emergency savings, or investments. This balanced approach improves your quality of life while simultaneously strengthening your financial foundation. Next time you receive a raise or bonus, try this. Wait 30 days before making any lifestyle changes. This cooling off period helps separate emotional spending impulses from intentional decisions about how to use your new resources most effectively. Have you ever upgraded your lifestyle immediately after a raise or bonus? Type lifestyle creep in the comments if you recognize this pattern in your own financial behavior. Our seventh warning sign might seem like simple procrastination, but financial experts recognize it as a reliable indicator of deteriorating finances. You're postponing necessary maintenance and repairs. That check engine light you've been ignoring, the leaky roof you're getting in next year, the dental cleaning you've rescheduled 3 times. These delayed maintenance issues aren't just inconveniences. They're warning signs of financial strain that often indicate deeper money problems. The costly truth is that postponing necessary maintenance almost always leads to bigger, more expensive problems. What starts as a $150 minor car repair becomes a $1,500 major fix. That small roof leak eventually causes $8,000 in structural damage. The skip dental cleaning turns into a $3,000 root canal. Financial planners call this the deferred maintenance trap, saving money in the short term while creating much larger expenses down the road. Thomas discovered this the hard way with his rental property. Trying to maximize cash flow, he delayed repainting the exterior for several years despite visible peeling. By the time he finally addressed it, water damage had rotted sections of siding and even some structural elements. What would have been a $4,000 paint job became a $22,000 repair project, far more than the savings from postponement. The practical solution is creating a dedicated maintenance fund for your major assets, your home, vehicles, and even your health. For homes, financial experts recommend setting aside 1 to 2% of your home's value annually for maintenance and repairs. For vehicles, consider saving the equivalent of a car payment even after your loan is paid off, creating a fund for both repairs and eventual replacement. Most importantly, distinguish between cosmetic upgrades, which can wait, and true maintenance issues, which generally become more expensive over time. That kitchen remodel might be postponed, but the water heater showing signs of failure should be addressed promptly. Remember, maintenance isn't just an expense. It's an investment in protecting your existing assets. As you consider whether you've been deferring necessary maintenance, our 8th warning sign shifts focus to something more psychological, but equally revealing. You avoid thinking or talking about your finances. Do you change the subject when money comes up in conversation? Do unopened bank statements pile up because you don't want to see the numbers? Do you log into your accounts less frequently than you used to? This financial avoidance is what psychologists call ostrich behavior, burying your head in the sand rather than facing reality. The psychological reality is powerful. Avoidance provides temporary emotional relief, but creates long-term financial damage. Studies from the Financial Therapy Association show that people who regularly avoid financial information make poorer decisions, miss important deadlines, and experience greater anxiety when they finally must confront their situation. What begins as discomfort often evolves into shame, creating a cycle where financial problems compound while remaining unaddressed. Elizabeth, a healthcare executive earning over $200,000 annually, stopped opening her credit card statements after a series of personal setbacks led to overspending. When she finally forced herself to look 6 months later, she discovered over $47,000 in balances across multiple cards, some with missed payments triggering penalty interest rates. Her avoidance had transformed a difficult but manageable situation into a genuine financial crisis. The solution starts with small, manageable steps that gradually rebuild your financial awareness. Begin with a financial reality check. Just 15 minutes, weekly reviewing recent transactions and account balances without judgment. Use financial tracking apps that automatically categorize spending if manual review feels too overwhelming initially. Consider working with a financial counselor who can provide both practical guidance and emotional support during this process. Remember, financial awareness is about perfection. It's about honest engagement with your money situation. The most financially successful people aren't those who never make mistakes, but those who quickly recognize and address problems rather than avoiding them. Do you regularly review your financial accounts? Or do you find yourself avoiding this crucial habit? Type "facing reality" in the comments if you're committed to building better financial awareness this month. Our 9th warning sign shifts from symptoms to causes, a fundamental gap that virtually guarantees financial struggles regardless of income. You're not investing for the future. If you're over 40 and haven't started investing for retirement or other long-term goals, this isn't just a gap in your financial plan. It's a 5-alarm fire. Even modest incomes, when consistently invested over time, can grow to substantial sums through compound growth. Without this growth engine working for you, achieving financial security becomes exponentially more difficult. The math is unforgiving. Saving without investing means inflation is constantly eroding your purchasing power. $100,000 in a savings account 20 years ago will be worth about $60,000 in today's purchasing power due to inflation. That same amount invested in a basic S&P 500 index fund would have grown to approximately $400,000, enough to maintain purchasing power and generate substantial additional wealth. Richard's experience illustrates this principle. A cautious saver, he kept his money in safe savings accounts and certificates of deposit throughout his 30s and 40s, accumulating $200,000 by age 50. His colleague, Michael, earning a similar salary, invested consistently in a simple portfolio of index funds, growing his comparable contributions to over $520,000 during the same period. The difference wasn't intelligence or income. It was understanding the necessity of investment growth. The solution isn't complicated, even for beginners. Start with employer-sponsored retirement plans like 401(k)s, especially if they offer matching contributions. That's literally free money. If those aren't available, individual retirement accounts, IRAs, provide tax advantages and simple investment options. Focus on low-cost index funds that provide instant diversification without requiring investment expertise. Most importantly, begin now, regardless of your age or how much you can contribute. Even modest amounts, $100 or $200 monthly, can grow substantially over 10 to 20 years, providing far more security than the same amount kept in savings accounts. Remember Warren Buffett's wisdom. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Our 10th and final warning sign reveals a pattern that often emerges when other financial protections have already failed. You regularly borrow money from friends or family. Whether it's asking your parents to help with an unexpected bill, borrowing from a sibling to make rent, or having friends cover you until payday, these informal loans often indicate serious financial instability. While occasionally leaning on your support network during true emergencies is understandable, recurring patterns of borrowing suggest your financial foundation has fundamentally eroded. The relationship impact is as significant as the financial implications. Research from the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia shows that informal lending between friends and family often creates relationship strain, regardless of whether the money is repaid. These transactions transform personal relationships into creditor-debtor arrangements, introducing power imbalances and resentment that can persist long after financial issues are resolved. Consider Angela's experience. After her divorce, she began occasionally asking her retired parents for help with expenses. What started as one-time emergency assistance gradually evolved into monthly requests. Though her parents never refused, she noticed growing tension during family gatherings. When her father finally admitted they were delaying their own medical care to help her, Angela realized her financial problems had created ripple effects beyond her own situation. The solution requires honesty and sometimes professional assistance. First, recognize the pattern. Occasional emergencies happen to everyone, but regular borrowing indicates a structural problem with your finances. Second, seek qualified financial counseling through organizations like the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, which offers free or low-cost guidance. Finally, develop a self-sufficiency plan with concrete steps to rebuild your financial independence, sharing this plan with those you borrowed from to rebuild trust. Remember, true financial health isn't just about numbers. It's about the freedom to stand on your own without depending on others' resources. Regaining this independence strengthens both your finances and your most important relationships. Now you understand the 10 warning signs that your financial situation might be deteriorating. Running out of money before payday, lacking an emergency fund, growing credit card debt, tapping savings for expenses, high debt-to-income ratio, lifestyle inflation, postponing maintenance, avoiding financial discussions, not investing, and borrowing from friends or family. The good news? Recognizing these signs is the most important step toward reclaiming your financial security. Financial decline doesn't happen overnight, and it can be reversed with awareness and consistent action. This week, I challenge you to honestly assess your situation. Pick just one warning sign that resonates with you and take a single concrete step to address it. Whether that's tracking your spending for the first time, setting up an automatic transfer to start an emergency fund, or making a debt payoff plan. Small actions today create dramatic results over time. Leave a comment saying financial awareness if this video helped you identify any warning signs in your own life. Your experience could help others who are facing similar challenges. In our next video, I'll share the step-by-step recovery plan for rebuilding financial security, including specific strategies to reverse each of these warning signs and get back on solid ground. Remember, financial health isn't about perfection. It's about progress. No matter where you stand today, recognizing the early warning signs puts you ahead of most Americans and positions you to take control of your financial future before small problems become major crises. Your path to financial security begins with awareness, and you've already taken that crucial first step.